Hey, good afternoon. Today is Saturday, July the 12th, 2024, and the time now is 2:13 p.m. So I want to talk about the Kenyan President William Ruto. So news has been coming out for the past 2 or 3 days or so that the Kenyan President William Ruto has fired his entire cabinet, with the exception of two ministers, the deputy president and the foreign minister. William Ruto has fired his entire cabinet. Now, according to the Kenyan constitution, a president can appoint about 22 ministers with the minimum of 14 or so ministers. I do have an issue with this. For me, it seems senseless that a president such as William Ruto, adding to the fact that for the past weeks, Kenya has been going through a whole lot of things, from the flood that killed over about 200 people to William Ruto basically renting private business jet from a Dubai-based company to rendezvous with Joe Biden, to the recent protest which is still going on as a result of the government attempt to pass an austerity measures, basically passing finance bill which would impose taxes and fees on things such as female hygiene products, baby diapers, and so on and so on. The fact that William Ruto make this move, it is interesting, but I do not see any fault of the officials, at least at this point. Yes, it is said that the Kenyan people, they've been agitating for a while now so that these ministers, or so that some of these ministers can be fired because of corruption. However, William Ruto has defended them. Now, I do feel as if the dismissal, which is ordered to be immediate, defective and immediate, should have been done way before the protest that has been engulfing the nation Kenya. So I do feel as if the dismissal of the cabinet ministers at this point was a political move by William Ruto to basically shut up the people, okay? Shut down the protest. Give the people what they want so that you don't become the victim, so that you don't get into trouble. That's what it seems like. In other words, what William Ruto did by firing his cabinet ministers was a checkmate. It seems that William Ruto made this move to checkmate the people of Kenya, okay? Use their own grievances against them. You want these ministers fired? Even though I should have fired them a long time ago for quote-unquote corruption that I didn't, and I supported them or defended them, I will just fire them right now so that you can get what you want, and perhaps you can seize your protest or seize the pressure that I am going through. That's what it seems like. Because by firing the ministers for corruption, it doesn't make sense as of now. Because now we are talking about the Kenyan people protesting against the finance bill, which, had it been passed, had William Ruto signed it, would have basically bore holes into the people's pockets and basically make their lives more miserable than already is or already are. So honestly, I do feel as if the people of Kenya needs to continue to protest. However, the people of Kenya should continue to protest. They should protest the immediate replacement of all of the cabinet ministers, because I do feel as if such number of vacancies in a government, it's problematic and it makes a government vulnerable in many ways. Such number of vacancies in a government is only sensible, I do feel, during a transition period when a new coming president or a new coming government is being onboarded, okay? Is coming into fruition, is coming into place. In that case, you have the vacancies, and then the government and his staff are basically making all the vetting and filling these positions. As of now, when you have protests in Kenya, when you have the IMF trying to come at Kenya, when you have various sentiments of destabilization going on in Africa, when you have Kenya sending police forces in Haiti, okay, to Haiti, while Nairobi is experiencing protest, I think it is childish and unprofessional for a president to dismiss such number of cabinet ministers. Such number of dismissal can happen during a time frame, a specified or a defined time frame, where these ministers can stay until this time, these ministers can stay until this time, and so on, until I get rid of all of them. But when you just fire everybody automatically, immediately, and you have not replaced them, it is a problem. And this move has some form of authoritarianism to it. So once again, the move by William Ruto of Kenya to fire his entire cabinet, or all of the cabinet ministers, with the exception of the deputy president and the foreign minister, was a move, a political move made not necessarily to clean or rid the government of Kenya or its government of corruption, because he had previously defended the ministers. Perhaps, or it seems, this move now was a political move, as I said earlier, to checkmate the Kenyan people or the protesters by giving them what they want, to take the pressure from him. He should have fired these guys, these corrupt officials, long ago. The fact that he chose to do it now, it is basically to reduce the pressure that he is experiencing, resulting from the protest that has been going on in Kenya for the past 2 weeks or so. So that's what I think it is. Now, this talk or program or video was supposed to be brief. So I am going to end by reading the description, which does have questions and comment, and it does serve as a conclusion or a summary. I'm going to read by starting with the title. So the title is Kenya's William Ruto dissolves cabinet. Once again, it reads, Kenya's William Ruto dissolves cabinet. I'm going to read. Kenyan President William Ruto fired his cabinet ministers, except for the foreign minister and the deputy president, due to corruption. The dismissals are ordered to take effect immediately. Questions or comment? Number 1. How does firing the cabinet solve the protest and the discontent in the public? Number 2. What does William Ruto achieve by firing the cabinet, and why? To that question, again, I do feel as if it basically takes the pressure off of him and checkmate the people. Give them what they want so that the pressure on him can lessen. Number 3, what are the minister's faults in the current Ruto problem or problems? Number 4, this seems more like a political campaign by William Ruto to protect himself than to rid his government of corrupt people. Yet, this appears to be a checkmate against the people using their grievances against their ministers against them. Basically using the people's grievances against the ministers against them. But it is also problematic that Ruto fired his cabinet immediately without replacing them. There is an authoritarian sentiment to this move. It could also make the replacement rubber stamp whatever Ruto does in the future to keep them in their position. Therefore, the Kenyan people should protest the immediate replacement of the cabinet. As a country, you should not have so many vacancies in the highest levels of government simultaneously. It makes the country vulnerable in many ways. A large number of vacancies in a government is probably sensible during transition of incoming president. The president, William Ruto, who spent the country's million to fly to meet Joe Biden, fired orders for corruption when his action was a corrupt action. So that's it. Once again, as much as there is corruption in the Kenyan government, as there are corruptions everywhere, those guys, okay, the ministers should have been fired long ago. The fact that William Ruto did it now was a political move to protect himself. And as a result, I do feel that the people of Kenya should continue to protest. And they should protest the immediate replacement of the dismissed ministers, because they do not want and should not want such large number of vacancies in the government. So that's it, friends. I am going to end here. Please tell me what you think. But thank you very much for being a part of the Echoing Voice community. And most importantly, thank you very much for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace.